right, so welcome back to Solution Ghana. It's Vocal Brown right here. And we don't want to stop talking about this galamsey matter, especially when it comes to the treating of the waters. Who else is talking about it in the media? It looks like things have died down. The talking on it has died down. Meanwhile, the problem is still with us. We know the political climate is heating up more and more. And so it seems to be a distraction when it comes to the very, apparent issues that are still with us. Our talking about it and more about it did not solve everything immediately just because we stopped talking about it. As we speak, the rivers are still brown. They are not white yet. So Solution Ghana is dedicating itself to making sure that it does not steal its voice when it comes to this galamsey menace. We want to still be tracking on what is happening on the ground, who is doing what. Recently, we've heard that there have been quite a number of arrests on these rivers, people going back to these sites again and arrests here and there in the hundreds. Well, government seems to be doing quite some work on it. But today we have a representation here of the Center for Scientific and Industrial Research. They are supposed to be the solution hub when it comes to social and economic problems in the country and what we should do about them. There's a lot happening in this institution that I think a lot of people don't know, and we seem to be talking about this galamsey menace behind them, at their back. Today, we want to magnify their office. We want to delve deep into their relevance in all this matter as far as the galamsey, and then especially the treating of the rivers is concerned, right? So we have in the studios with me a doctor who happens to be in the Department of the Environmental
Sanitation
and Environmental Department, actually, and they are still assiduously working on it, and today want to throw light on what they have been doing so far. So, Doc, you're very much welcome into the studios. Let me mention the full name, Dr. Rapheal Nsiah Gyambibi. He's the head of sanitation, again, as I said, and environmental management. All right, so welcome to the studios, sir. Yeah, I hope you are doing well.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I hope you are doing well. Well, we've been talking so much, the media has been talking so much about the galamsey menace. Unfortunately, the voices have died down a bit. But so far, what have been your impressions in our talking? Have we been saying the right things from your point of view?
Okay, thank you very much once again. So I'm Dr. Nsiah Gyambibi from Industrial Research, Institute of Industrial Research. One of the institutes from Council for Scientific and Industrial Research. Yeah. So we're a council, not a center.
Okay, a council. That's right.
All right. So galamsey, galamsey. There has been so much issues about galamsey. Technically, it deals with the water bodies being polluted as a result of mining. And these water bodies are being polluted because of solids being mixed up with the water as a result of these mining activities. So one way to be able to stop this galamsey is to put interventions, to put down policies, to put down, things to manage how this mining is being done. Yes. Then another way is also treating the polluted water bodies.
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't know which one you want me to tackle first.
Well, I think on the prevention level, I'm not too sure how well we have excelled when it comes to prevention. Definitely the problem at hand now shows that we've not been able to prevent the issues that we're having now. And there are various adverse effects even in our cooking pots when it comes to water and what we use in the water for in the areas and all that. Well, as I said, the government seemed to have done much enforcing it through the militia, the police, and all that. We've heard of arrests here and there. Well, but our waters are still brown. And So I think that we can zoom in on the treatment of the water. What has been CSR's relevance on this?
Okay. So in terms of the treatment of the polluted water, I can speak from the research, background.
Okay.
So there has been a number of research to develop technologies to treat this water, this polluted water. As I said, this polluted water is as a result of the mixing of the solids, contaminants, in the water. Some dissolved, some suspended. So treating this water is separating these solids from the solvents, that's the water. And we have 3 ways of doing it. We have the physical, we have the chemical, and we have the biological.
Okay.
Most of the time, due to the aquatic, ecosystem, we normally going for the biological so that we don't further, introduce contaminants.
Yeah, and try to solve another one.
But whenever it becomes necessary for us to go the chemical way, right, we develop flocculants.
Okay.
Yeah, where possibly it helps to separate the solids from the solvents.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So all that I'm trying to say is that there are technologies.
Okay.
That can be used to solve these polluted water.
Doc, you just said that there are technologies that can be used. It brings me to one question. You're talking in possibilities. It means that some of these technologies are there but are not being used so far. Is that the case?
Yes, that's the case.
They've not been affected on the ground.
Yes.
What are the challenges?
So I wouldn't know the reason why these technologies are still sitting on the shelf. But the little I've been exposed to is there has been some little engagement with the research, advancements, the researchers, the research institutes, and perhaps with the government. Yes. So I don't know how much they have been engaging in terms of bringing these technologies on board to solve these polluted waters.
Okay.
So.
Okay. But Doc, if you say you don't know how much, maybe I should push you a bit further. Maybe there's more we can know about this, because this has been a topical issue for some months now. And if there were any note of urgency, involved, I think the government should have had this as a priority, and your institution should have been very much involved in the process of tackling the menace. Are we trying to say that you've been ignored?
Well, I'm not privy to a lot of information to conclude that you've been ignored. Perhaps maybe engagements are still being, are still ongoing. So I wouldn't be able to say and conclude that you've been ignored. But for my little exposure, I think we've done our best to bring the attention of the government, to these technologies that are being developed by our research. Maybe we need to do more, to interact.
From your side or the government side in expediting?
I think both. We need to do more by, sensitizing the government on the technologies that we've been able to develop. And in as much as also possible, the government needs to also engage us, bringing us on board in terms of, these policy making and all these interventions that they want to roll out, So it's a two-way of solving this whole thing. So the government needs to engage us more, and we need to sensitize the government more on the technologies that we've been able to develop that we can use to solve this.
But do you think they are really taking this as a priority, treating the water as a priority?
In fact, it should be a priority. If it's not a priority on their decks, then maybe they need to revise it, because the water bodies, it serves a whole lot, it brings a whole lot solutions, give importance.
Yeah, the importance.
Yeah. to the
From the
communities.
agriculture
Yes.
to domestic
Exactly.
use of the water.
So if it has not been a priority, then maybe I will entreat the government to revise it. But I believe it has been a priority on their decks.
Well, this is a very hot political season, you know that. And I'm not too sure how they expediting on this. Looking at the fact that a lot of people are campaigning, most of the stakeholders, in the government are campaigning, trying to garner for votes. Don't you think that this season has overwhelmed the focus on treating of these water bodies? Can we do anything about it? Do we wait for the next government? What do you think?
I don't think we need to wait for a government.
Okay.
At every point in time, we should handle it as a national, national commitment.
Okay.
Because it is not a one-party government issue. It's a national issue that we need to always tackle it at every point in time. So I don't think we need to wait for the next government to, do something about it. As I speak now, we need to tackle it and, get on in solving this problem that is being, created.
Are there resources allotted when it comes to, your researches and expediting it on the ground generally? Are there budget allocations for them? Are there resources made available? Or we look at a particular problem and probably with your research, we know that this is what has come out of it. We can do it, but now we need to beseech the government for resources to be allocated. How do you work with government when it comes to funding of your projects so far?
All right, so I wouldn't say resources have not been allocated because I'm not privy to it.
Okay.
Right. What I know is that we as a research institute, we've been engaged to conduct research. Yeah. So we do our possible best to,
sponsored by the government.
To find sponsorship.
To find sponsorship.
Yes. So as it stands now, the government sponsors some of the research. Yeah, but most of the research that I have privy to, we get sponsorship outside the government. Yes. So maybe if I would speak to it, I would say the government needs to, do more in sponsoring most of our research because outside sponsorship is more. And the effect belongs to the sponsor. You can do little to it. But if the government is able to sponsor this research, the output now belongs to the government. The government can use it, judiciously in solving these problems.
So then it means that aside from the government, you look up to other agencies or consortiums or groups that are willing to sponsor your projects, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, what would be the motivation? Putting the treatment of the water in view, for instance, if anybody came up to say that, okay, I want to work with you on a business level, we want to treat the water. What could be the motivation? What are the benefits? Are we looking at the social impact benefit alone, or business can be made out of it?
Yeah, so it depends on the angle upon which we are approached. Yeah. Our ultimate aim is to provide solutions to solve our environmental problems. So depending on I would say the investor or maybe the sponsor approaching the interest, right? If the sponsor or the investor wants to make business out of it, I think it is in the right direction. But the ultimate aim in our interest is to solve the environmental problem. So if you're making business out of it and it's helping to solve, these environmental problems, that is good to go. If you're also looking at just the social responsibility to just contribute to, as a civic responsibility, social responsibility to improving our environment, that one too is in the right direction. So depending on the angle upon which the investor or the sponsor is going to approach us, and that would define how the technology can be rolled. Yeah.
So your duty is not to, for instance, create a business sense to advertise. It's to probably sponsors. I'm sure that if you're looking at sponsorship beyond the government, that there should be a bait. There should be reasons you're putting the, benefit reasons as it adheres to benefits that you're putting out to say that, okay, this is the reason why I think that it should come in, because nobody want to throw money away. So if we want to move CSIR forward, as far as its researchers and projects are concerned, when it comes to the private sector, what would be the trigger, the motivating factor when it comes to benefits, for instance?
So, our main role, responsibility is to conduct the research. Now, the next is the uptake of the output.
Okay.
So the uptake of the output now lies on the shoulders of the sponsor, as I said.
Okay.
So if
but you bid for sponsorship.
Sorry, come again.
Do you bid for sponsorship?
Yes. So
you reach out.
So yes, we try to look for calls. We try to yes.
Okay.
So at the end of the day, the output that are being generated out of our research, it now lies on the shoulders of the sponsor to now determine what should be made out of it.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So most of the times we can do little in the output.
Okay.
Yes, because whenever they are giving us this sponsorship, most of the times some IP issues, some other things that
IP
control
meaning intellectual property.
Yes. Yes. So if you're able to develop a technology, there's always an agreement, a contract with the sponsor, with the investor. That is why I'm entreating the government to invest more, because at the end of the day, whatever output that is being churned out of our research belongs to the government, and the government can now roll it out to solve the, the environmental problems that are existing now.
Okay. So, Doc, what you are trying to tell us, or you're telling us, is that you have the machinery to treat the waters. No.
Oh, of course. Of course. I can say on authority that there are technologies that currently, if we are being engaged, we can be able to roll some out to start solving these polluted water bodies.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
But the difference is we've been conducting our research in small scale, right?
Okay.
So when it comes to this large scale aspects, at times it also needs some research.
Okay.
Because the output that you are going to get as a result of the small scale, you need to put in certain parameters to see how effective you can roll it out for the large scale. So I can say on authority that if we have been engaged well, there's a number of technologies that have been developed by the researchers that the government can, leverage on and get it being used to solve the problem. Yeah.
Have you done any experiments on the ground?
Experiments like?
Let's take, River Pra or the Birim River, any of these rivers. Have you gone to any other sites? Okay, let's test our technology on this river.
Well, as it stands now, I'm not privy to any, intervention on that large scale. Well, if they
even
have
on the small scale level, have you gone to the
yes,
ground
on the small scale, in terms of research, as I said, we've been conducting these, and we have a number of outputs sitting on the shelf that we can showcase.
Okay.
To demonstrate that these things can work.
Okay. So, in educating the public, for instance, when it comes to your researches and your inventions, especially when there is a social matter, we are facing a crisis like the galamsey crisis. How do you interact with the populace? Apart from platforms, let's say Solution Ghana platform, do you engage the media a lot when it comes to your inventions and your capabilities and what you can do to solve a particular problem?
Yes, so I can speak to my institute. We've been engaging the stakeholders, the media. I think this year we try to organize an annual, research seminar.
Okay.
Yes, I think it was the maiden of it, and We use that opportunity to sensitize the stakeholders on our output. So we've been doing our best. Little in our corner, we've been doing our best. So perhaps maybe if we do more, we will get the attention that we need.
Okay.
Yeah, to be able to roll out these outputs.
Okay. Well, so this is where Solution Ghana also comes in. We are so much passionate about fishing out and honing out beyond the political lenses, those who really matter to the problems we have in the country and how to solve them. This is not a politically biased platform. And Doctor, thank you so much for every bit of knowledge and exposition you have made so far. But the good news is that CSIR has the technology to solve, to treat the water. What are we waiting for? What are we waiting for? They have what it takes to solve the problem. Is this not a gold mine? Hey, do we really want to solve the problem? Well, I pray that the stakeholders are listening, and whatever needs to be expedited, whether it's resources, whether it is the right platforms, let's champion this because they have the capability, they have what it takes. We just need to give them, the right platforms, the right empowerment for them to do what they have to do. We have what it takes. Ghana has what it takes. Our institutions, they have what it takes. Let us rise. Let us put our priorities right. And I'm sure that Ghana will be a better place for all of us to be. Studios, he has been the representative of the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, the technocrats that have been mandated by power to help us as far as our socioeconomic issues and polluted rivers and how we are solving them and what they have to say about them. A lot he has said, but a lot has not been said in my review. And for me, I think that this is where I will need my compatriot out. Let's just do a little overview and a review, right? When it comes to what has been discussed so far. Alhaji Ghana, it's good to see you. It's good to see you. The discourse has been going on. What do you say? What have been your impressions?
Well noted, and I was happy we brought Doug inside to information. Yes. But CSIR is an institution. Most people don't know what it was and why it's institution in Ghana.
Yes.
And all countries has it with UN policy mandated with every country to have it, just like
council order.
Yeah, but then that is the mandatory Center for Scientific. That is why they call them straight up. And this industrial research, this was created to pursue implementation. That's why the mandate that, like you couldn't mention as well, people don't know. These people are mandated by policy and law.
They are mandated.
Yeah, that's policies, government policies, as regard to scientific research.
So they are supposed to have a voice.
Yeah, they are. It's not supposed. They have a voice. I believe why you suppose is because we live sometimes well to be nothing.
Yeah.
Because politicians feel threatened.
Why should they be threatened by?
Because academic, human resource, innovation, and recruitment. That is 5 minutes that institution globally has been made. South Africa, Nigeria, US, everybody stands. It gives every country progress and development.
So is our standing?
Ours is, if it was in stand, would have had more development, would have been like, at least would have been like Malaysia in standing. But I want to call people's attention to the problem we are facing. And whenever I talk, I always complain that people shouldn't dwell on politicians alone too much. They should dwell on public and civil servants as well. Why I say this is because people are employed to work. When an employer is intimidated, there is a procedure of law he or she has, even though there is no way if you are really violated in employment, you will not win your case. You may not win it in high court, you get to appeal, because appeal only interpretative law has been done. But what saddens me is that this issue of galamsey is what brought this. And then what saddens me, the government has banned gold, and then it came to the time that people were insisting that, oh, it is costing too much.
The government has banned gold.
Had banned illegal mining and the mining in general, temporarily because of this situation which was ahead. What most people don't know that this should be in Rawley's report. We've been in this problem, upon laws, and it was written in the Constitution. If people go back, they could see. We don't want to waste more time in talking about law. But the fact published in September 19, 2024, there was a publication that CSIR and Ghana Atomic Energy Commission have called for galamsey to be banned, and then they have called to set for bold solution to galamsey. My question, if I was on stage, I would ask, I would have asked Doctor, have those questions defined solution for it? Because they were supposed to find solution per the publication. And in their 60th anniversary, the senior minister, okay, you see the problem with, I'll leave the rest, let them blame the other person. That's why the question is not to say, did he enforce it? The question, and then if you are finding solution for a problem, what do? You give a scenario, a proper way that problem can be solved. So once you give how it can be solved, you have done solve this problem. Leave the rest for the person. There is somebody who is also supposed to go and bring the money. Let us go and handle that person. It's not your business to handle. You do what you have. It's just like me doing my thing and passing my Ghana. What did you do? I've done my work. I've given it to the next person. So go to him. But the problem with it is leaders of that institution that in 2019, Safuma Adia stated that they should take this matter to act immediately on it. And to the point that he has caused that we have destroyed the land to a point that now it will cost us 200 for an hectare of land to come back to normal.
Okay.
And all this thing I want to ask, was money given to them for that mission to answer? But we'll have to find somebody.
Was there budget allocation for them?
Oh, the budget that was allocated. We all know budget allocation. They read budget. You see budget. Oh, then budget. When they are reading,
and they are supposed to read.
When they are reading budget, you have to listen to the budget. In budget, become a city. In budget, that you know that now money is going to go at this place. Monies are given for Ministry of Environment to this bear under its umbrella who has requested funding to do. And one good thing about this particular fund, without this funding, we can't even access international loans. It's connected internationally that a lot of their activities are considered before you are even giving funding from abroad. Unfortunately, we don't know, but we will find. We are solution guys. We are going with him. I think we did good by at least getting somebody from that point of view to give us the article. They're doing research. They are mandated. Some of us already know that they're mandated to do research. But are they doing the research? It's not about waiting for the problem to happen before you do. They are mandated to always be in research so that we will be ahead of time.
Well, he said a number of things that they are doing, especially when it comes to treating the water body.
They are not. He said what they are doing. We want solution. We don't want experiments. They are experimenting.
Are you sure?
Yes, because they could find a bold solution for the problem. This problem, you think about, they can use WIC to solve this problem. They know. There's a lot of scientific.
The issue about funding. He spoke about
funding. So the whole Ghana is dying out of water, right? And you are saying that we should die because there is no money to do that.
Well, maybe political campaigns.
No, because both political, listen, nobody, that's why some of us say that even Mahama is not coming to solve no. The issue we are facing, when people come, they're going to deep into it and tell us that, oh, but they didn't start. But that shouldn't be the problem.
Somebody told me that CSIR alone could solve this problem within a month or two.
It's a fact.
Either way,
it's a fact. Don't you know that in this modern world, there are ways to clean gold without water? Oxygen, they use oxygen to clean gold. Gold now, you take it dead from there, you can clean it. There is our late old man, Papsolo, Mr. Solomon. He had initiated for this to be done. That was 4 years ago. This is not a new technology. And there are more coming. Technology is so good for us that we just decide that we don't want to solve the problem. We want the problem to be there to exploit out of it.
So that's guy, you want to tell me that we are actually protecting and preserving the problem because of what we can get from it?
Yes. Because without, if you understand practical economics, when they are doing, you say, oh, they applying that to that area. You see, if you don't give people, if people don't buy, the economy is not moving. Because money has to exchange and things has to exchange everything. So if there is no exchange, there is no economy, right? So how do you, when people don't have money to buy, what do? You give people money to buy. Once they buy, they start buying, the money exchange hand, and then that is why people don't understand. Oh, now they said, oh, in America they give them tax return. Yes, tax return is given to people to spend in the economy again for the economy to boost back. The sad part of our part of the world, we need to understand that our politicians exploit us and dump the burden on us. Their politicians also exploit, but they don't dump the burden on them, they dump it on us. With regard to the research that they are doing, he is a technocrat, he is a scientist, and he knows they are doing their work. They're only doing with what has been given to them.
So why is not government focusing on them?
You know,
because they have the solution.
Do you know the sad part of this situation? This is an institution that money can be, funding can be brought from different angles. That wouldn't be alone. Grants and other things, and soft loans can be given for this. But the greed of the Ghanaian politicians made it difficult. People always want a stake in what is coming. And when you start demanding stakes in what is coming, you begin to frustrate your own self. They ignorantly violate themselves without knowing. Because people pursue an agenda and think it will solve it. Who would have been attacking people for what is going on today? If it wasn't there, nobody would have anything bad to say about it. But people, when they were doing, they didn't see it like that. They think, oh, as long as they're good, that should be it. And the sad part is that it's not only this institution. You remember we went there to see National Commission and Civic Education. Because they want us to talk about this. I'm just throwing it. I'm just throwing. We were supposed to meet with them. They asked for. I went there personally, and to my surprise, what I saw, we'll talk it in the discussion when we have it. Okay. And then another thing I became worried of is how those institutions have become there, which I'm suspecting CSIR might also end up towards that level. Because these are institutions which are internationally established in every country as a tool that is strategically positioned to serve the country, to educate, so protect.
We're going to talk about why they are not being effective and what could happen to them. Do you think it's a deliberate thing politicians are doing to camouflage? They are just there, to camouflage represents a facade.
Yes, I think our core trait, I know, is ignorance is one of it. When you say ignorant, I remember when Doctor was here, when we spoke outline, he said, oh, people know. People know what you can know something and you don't do it. The definition of knowing, people have it different way. If you know there is money here, when you go here, you get money, without a doubt, you take that agenda and go for the money. But when you know there is money, but you have a doubt to that, you may not be able to get it. That's where you start contemplating and decide as to go on. But when you are certain, everything is the matter. Or you have a freedom with it. Yes, they are not certain about the knowledge people are telling them. They hear or they read. They know when people say this water problem, don't you think it can be solved in 6 or 8? If they give every money there, CSIR. It can be solved if they want to dare us. We can say they should give them money. The problem is that they are not. Why is saying the problem is the person is not willing to solve a problem, my brother.
If we are not willing to solve it,
we are not willing to solve it because we are looking at the money involved in that problem. And the other part of it is
we don't have the money.
Not if you don't have, you can get it. There is some sickness when you are sick in your family. You may say you need money, they will not.
So maybe in the next episode, I need to hear from Doc, for instance, how much
That is if he will be willing, that is if he will be willing to disclose.
No, one, my brother. Any business entity, maybe business analyst or whatever, can pick it up.
I can tell you.
Say that, well, we may need.
I can tell you that
$1 billion.
I can tell you
$500 million.
No, I can tell you that it's not going to be more than $500 million to solve that problem. The technology is vague. It's open-ended. So the problem is vague. It can be, so it's not going to be. It's just that for whatever bureaucratic issue, somebody might say 1 billion. So if we can take 1 billion to solve our problem, then we solve it. It will not get closer to 500. I'm telling you, it will not pass 500 million.
So it's not part of our priority.
Yeah, it's no. Thank you. You see, every individual right is aim and objective when he is doing or taking care of his business or is embarking on his family activity. That's why we have scale of preference in economics. What matters most campaign. Everybody, the politician, what matters most is for you to vote for him.
So what matters most is not what the citizenry say matters most.
That is where I mentioned to you about the unconsciousness we have become, and we need to reform the educational curriculum. Because
so we need a long-term approach.
Yeah.
Reformation of mindsets, reformation of value systems.
We have to start thinking different direction. Because listen, if Ghanaians are wise and we design wisdom in our activities, and we realize a politician used this amount of them. Yesterday, I did example for somebody like that. He was talking about a woman was talking about I told him, madam, 18,500 plus a year for 5 million students of nature. And she was laughing. That's what government said. And I told him that this certain thing, but he failed in saying he should have, when he was coming out every day during COVID to say, to announce that fellow Ghanaians, when the problem was turning, COVID went and economic problem was arriving, he should have said between fellow Ghanaians. He could have come and sit on air and say, fellow Ghanaians, we came to take the government to serve you. But now we know you people are complaining things are hard. It's hard. And it is hard because remember our predecessor wasn't paying teachers. Yes, paying them. This is the they quantify the amount. This is the amount we spend on that. Remember nurses. This is what we are paying for free senior high. People need to know things to understand their position. That's why I say if you are not informed, and somebody is doing something, you think it's just wasting the money. You have to be able to do it and say, if you do deduction, are you trying to say that the money is not just no, I'm not saying I wouldn't say that. The money, there is always waste in African money. And that's why you look at it because we want enough.
We want to move on from here because there's a very critical issue here we are trying to solve. And that is our rivers, and it's having dire effect on us. We are talking and we want solutions. If the politicians don't see it as a priority, what the citizenry they are representing are seen as a priority.
Don't you see that?
Then I think there's a problem.
Don't you see that politicians only carry something to be priority when it is in news and people are making noise about it? And noise is not a priority.
So we have the money.
When people are...
We have the money to solve it. We can solve it tomorrow.
We Ghanaians will say we are independent. We have something we can put down and get the money. Ghana always have an asset they can monetize. The sad part is that, you see, when you are saying, people look at that, there are a lot of assets we don't consider to be assets. Some of them, I don't want to put them out there so that they are so funny that when you give them proposal to use our politicians, you, the person who invent the technology or bring that, they end up dumping you aside and take things out of it, sideline you, take things out of it and use it, forgetting that he who writes rules, if you're in publication, that's why America did their own web Sanitation. He who writes rules, whoever write the document, whoever invented the thing, if you do anything without it, you will not get it to the level it has to be. That is the sad part of it. So if you are saying that does that mean we don't have money for it? Money, you don't always have it. You can find money for it, and the money is available for it. There is no money. You think that pollution, is it not part of things that will lead to global warming? Hasn't a lot of money has been popped down by the global world for global warming for free, which are grants? So if you make it a global warming, you are willing, and then you make us sit down and then prove to you that we can use this methodology, we can use this technology to solve the problem within this land. You, the government, we are not saying, you see, the problem about doing business in Africa, we are not saying lead it. They always want to lead. We are not saying don't lead it or lead it, but leave the work for people to do. You see, there are a lot of solutions that are there that you, the government, can solve. The only a business or an entity or the individual who can solve it only needs the government of Ghana to say to give consent. You know, because of how difficult it is, I'm even getting most. To give consent that, oh, Mr. Enoch, we consent that Mr. Enoch has solution for this, and we, the government, are behind him fully. That is what failed us from even getting stadiums. We needed just the Minister of Youth and Sports and the government to indicate that they are willing. South Africa and then European company was willing to give us over to build 200 stadiums, which every region will get more than the ones in Accra and Kumasi. And they didn't need money. The funding had been created, but we knew how we need to create the funding. We only needed the government to, because the people requested that they want the government to be part of it. And that even though they were not even helping, we went to schools, institutions which have big lands, like Okes, Wesley College, and then Accra here. We've gone to a lot of schools to acquire certain documents to show that they are willing to be on board. So the land is there. And land is a valuable asset. And that was what we used, some of the things we use our bases as an asset to guarantee.
You got frustrated along the line.
Oh, we were told, go and come and go and come and go and come. Later on, during World Cup, it was funny for me when they were talking about infrastructure, sports infrastructure. If that was there, you would have even have every game played automatically online, free, because satellites were attached to this stadium.
Okay, Elijah, if we don't take care of this, we'll move into sports.
Yeah.
And we are...
For CSR thing there, we did well, but I will want us to see them because there is so many things that CSR done. You see, they are the ones who support to grow food. As a matter, they are the institution that is to providing scientific and technology support to grow food and agriculture. They are the one mandated to do that.
So we have the institutions. We just not using them.
This institution is, if the one, the like of it in US and other things, money is abundant. When watch US Congress, how much good they call the money like it's creating billions, trillions. They're pushing it into it.
We need to wake up to set our priorities right.
We are already. I believe. You said something that is it. You said we need to wake up. We are already awake. We have to discern. We have to discern wisdom. We have to discern. My brother, we have to discern wisdom in our executions. So anyway, let's pray and get people to discern wisdom.
We can talk about this over and over and over again, but I think we have mentioned some of the salient issues that needs to be mentioned. Quite an interesting overview or review, if I should put it that way. And, so we just have to take this one and we'll have another episode of this. We are not leaving this on the these courses in CSIR, they are going to come back again on the show. We hope so that we will get into the matters to see how we can get our technocrats to have a voice, or even they have a voice to push that voice to solving the problems that they already have on their shelves, pushing them out so that we can see our nation move forward. Well, it's been Enoch Brown and it's been Elijah Ghana in the studios with me. And earlier on, we've had Dr. Rapheal Nsiah Gyambibi with us in the studios, representing this Council for Scientific and Industrial Research. Well, this is how far we've come. We're going to come again. In the Solution Ghana, see you.